So the fact that Bitcoin's at 95 with the interest rate here and the dollar down 5% from, the last 6-month moving average is unbelievable. Like, it is super duper strong. We take the 2-year note back down to around 2%. Bitcoin's at 180,000 with nothing else changed.
Bitcoin's price climbed to its highest level since February today, touching 97,400. No, this is not a mistake. No, this is not a dead cat bounce. And no, this is not market manipulation. Bitcoin is showing real strength right now. And in this video, over the next 8 minutes, we'll answer the big question: why is Bitcoin's price really going up? And what comes next? The answer might surprise you. Smash the like button, send this video to one friend who's interested in Bitcoin. Make sure you watch the entire video today so you understand what's actually going on. Let's start here. Bitcoin has crossed an adoption chasm, and now we're seeing many public entities finally admitting what they've been doing behind the scenes. For instance, Morgan Stanley, 1.7 trillion assets under management, has now admitted they have big plans to enable Bitcoin and crypto trading on its E-Trade platform, aiming to challenge the crypto leaders by 2025. We are literally seeing almost every single big player doing this now, including Charles Schwab. 7.13 trillion asset manager Charles Schwab plans to launch spot crypto trading within 12 months. Again, they're trying to compete with the big players. I mean, the fact is, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, these are the big players in the traditional world, and they understand they better adapt or get left behind when it comes to this. Just like the United States is realizing they better adapt or get left behind. Leadership in the White House continues to outline their new strategy to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. 1 million Bitcoin is the goal over 5 years. They're trying to get this passed. Either way, they're going to buy as much Bitcoin as possible in a cost-neutral way for taxpayers. And we're seeing states front run this, Arizona being one of the first states to initiate a Bitcoin strategic reserve for their state. Like, this is happening now, guys. Arizona clears bill to invest 10% of public funds into Bitcoin. This is huge. And the regulators are knocking down walls to make this happen. This is a stark change from Bitcoin and crypto's first 15 years. The new SEC chair says that Bitcoin and crypto fair regulation is badly needed, and he's going to spearhead it. And good crypto regulation in the US is a bipartisan issue, with every branch of government in a bipartisan way doing their part. We're expecting a stablecoin bill, then a market structure bill. The fact is, regulators are prioritizing bipartisan regulation to ensure stability, legitimacy. Like, if you need any more signs that the US is about to become the crypto capital of the world, we show you this stuff all the time. Make sure you subscribe. Because at the moment, the US isn't the leader. Singapore could be a crypto leader. Dubai could be a crypto leader. Even the United Kingdom is farther along in the US with their fair crypto regulations. The UK government actually just unveiled new regulatory framework, even better for Bitcoin and crypto. And they said specifically, we're looking forward now to working with the US through transatlantic cooperation on digital assets for responsible growth and innovation. This is hugely significant. And there's so many different levels now of Bitcoin buying. Again, most entities buying Bitcoin, they're probably not admitting it. Every once in a while, they get to a point where they have to admit it. Like, for instance, Atom-backed Bitcoin Treasury is kind of doing the same thing Michael Saylor has been doing. They say we want to capture 1% of the Bitcoin supply by 2033. If you subscribe to our channel, you know Jack Mallers, previously associated with the Bitcoin payments company Strike. He is directly replicating what Michael Saylor has done with MicroStrategy. He's basically doing the exact same thing now Michael Saylor is doing. Now there's a direct competition here. And by the way, Michael Saylor responded to this. He says, he understands competition for exactly what he does is going to propagate, and he's going to be buying whether he owns 1% of the supply, 2.5% of the supply, which he does now, 5%, even 10% of the supply he will continue to buy. And I think this is kind of how a lot of people are thinking about it. He's just brave enough to say it.
We'll just keep buying, right? The price is going to go up. It's going to get exponentially harder, and the price is going to go up exponentially higher, and we'll just keep buying. And at some point, if we get to 5% of the supply, Bitcoin's probably going to be $1 million a coin. And if we get to 7.5% of the supply, Bitcoin will be 10 million a coin. And then if I'm lucky enough to grind to 10% of the supply, Bitcoin's going to be 50 million a coin, and someone will be whining that whatever, we have too much Bitcoin, but other people will have $400 trillion of wealth, So our view is it's a ratchet, and we're just going to keep cranking on the ratchet, and there's massive leverage here. And I think everybody's winning if we do that.
One of the biggest surprises in all of this is as the world, the US, the global economy continues to get more uncertain, Bitcoin's price is showing great resilience. Why? Bitcoin insiders say that there's really one big reason why Bitcoin's price is moving up, decoupling from everything else, and it's because, for the first time ever, Bitcoin is truly being recognized as a legitimate alternative asset, a digital gold. Listen to this explanation, because Alyssa Painter is an insider. She's the co-founder of a Bitcoin Layer 2, and she explains here what's causing this price rise. It's super interesting.
It's super interesting. What we've actually observed at Botanix Labs is that Bitcoin has really decoupled from equities as well as other cryptocurrencies. It's really exhibiting behavior that's more similar to digital gold, which is why when you look at that performance, it is actually more close to gold than equities and other cryptocurrencies. And that really means that people are using it as kind of this hedge or this bet against the volatility. So Bitcoin has not only outperformed all of these other sectors, but the implied volatility has also gone down across the board and compared to NASDAQ and the S&P. And that shows that with all of this uncertainty in the market, people are really looking at what are the other alternative assets that they could look to invest in as a hedge. And Bitcoin is emerging as the natural contender, one, because of the broad adoption that has already occurred, and two, because the ETFs have provided this ideal entry vehicle for any retail investor to come in and have exposure. And that is why you're seeing Bitcoin really being this resilient asset in the global landscape.
So based on everything they're seeing, this rally is real and it will keep going higher. And soon, altcoins will follow. Listen to what she says at the end.
So looking ahead, what can we expect as it relates to crypto markets this month?
I think when it comes to Bitcoin price, what we're seeing at Botanix is that it's really going to continue surging past the 100K mark. In fact, with all of the uncertainty you're seeing within equities and with tariffs and what that's bringing in, the likely impact is going to be some measure of quantitative easing. And that historically has done very well for crypto. You see a migration of assets into Bitcoin and other crypto assets. So I predict that the decoupling of Bitcoin is going to continue from the broader market and is going to hit the 100K mark and probably beyond as we continue to see that migration occur. And I think it's going to also bleed over into the rest of crypto. Naturally, what happens is Bitcoin is the leading indicator when it comes to price action within crypto, and then the rest of the market follows. So that's what we're seeing here is a rebounding of Bitcoin that's probably going to then flow into the rest of the crypto market.
Smash the like button, because guess what? Very little needs to happen over the next 6 months for Bitcoin's price to rally to $180,000. $180,000 is the fair value of Bitcoin in 2025 as we get later into this year. Dan Tapiro is a macro expert. He is the founder of $1.2 billion 10T Holdings. He is truly a macro expert, a chart expert, and he says prepare for 180K. Hey, use our BitConnect link, the pinned comment, for all your buying, selling, and trading of crypto. Trading crypto is a great way to make money, whether the price of Bitcoin is up or down. Subscribe to our channel, join our team. So much is happening in crypto on a daily basis. You need to stay informed. Save this video, bookmark this video. Bitcoin will hit $180,000 easily this year, at least according to Dan Tapiro. He says he's confident. Listen to this.
In 2021, the interest rate was zero, okay? Zero. And Bitcoin was 60,000 at the peak. So here we are today at 95,000. If we took short rates down back to zero, I think Bitcoin would be probably closer to 300,000. Now, I don't think they're going to zero, just because the interest rate is a reflection of how much liquidity is being put into the system. And it's a whole bunch of other things, but this is just my back of the envelope guess. We take the 2-year note back down to around 2%. Bitcoin's at 180,000 with nothing else changed. So the fact that Bitcoin's at 95 with the interest rate here and the dollar down, only sort of 5% from, the last 6 month moving average is unbelievable. Like, it is super duper strong. I know looking at all the macro variables. So if you have a little more of a slowdown, you have this dollar weakening, you have the interest rates drop, just that alone, forget all the great fundamentals, all the new flow into Bitcoin, flow into Ethereum and Solana. To me, I see everything. Bitcoin is the leader. Bitcoin is the core asset.